Hi, and welcome to Nutrition Class 2, Setting the Table for Healthy Eating. I'm Ansley Faye, Clinical Dietitian with the Blessing Health System. Two objectives that I hope you take away from today's class is first, learn how to read the nutrition facts label, making informed food choices that support your healthy lifestyle. And second, explore how you can take an active role in making a healthier choice for you and your family at home and while eating out. So we also hope you leave here today with 3 key messages as well about good nutrition practices. 1, small changes add up. Focusing on small, manageable shifts in healthier food choices is a little bit more manageable to achieve instead of trying to do everything all at once. Healthy cooking and eating smart starts with smart grocery shopping. And know your options when you're eating out. So tips that you can take to help make better decisions when doing so. So before we start, I would like to define a few key terms. First, I want to define what a calorie is. So a calorie is a unit of measurement of energy that is found in food and beverages. Our bodies need energy to function, grow, and thrive. Second, what is a nutrient? A nutrient is a substance in food that our body uses to function and grow. We get these nutrients from what we eat and drink. Fats, proteins, vitamins, water, carbohydrates, those are all examples of nutrients. Fats, carbohydrates, and proteins also supply calories to the foods and beverages that you eat and drink. So kind of like how we talked about in Nutrition Class 1. Third, what is a percent daily value? A percent daily value tells you how much of a nutrient is in that serving, contributing to your total daily diet. So it can also help you determine if a serving of food is high or low in a specific nutrient to help you compare different products. You'll find both calories and percent daily value useful, knowing that when you use a food label to compare products, you're going to feel a little bit more confident knowing this is maybe better than this one, and we'll talk about what those percent daily values will look like. So now we're going to turn our attention to the nutrition facts label. Once you become familiar with it and how to use it, the label can be extremely valuable for you and your family as a tool to make healthier food choices. So what is a nutrition facts label? The nutrition facts label is actually regulated by the US FDA and required to be on most food and beverage packages. It provides nutrition information about the nutrition content in that food or beverage. So where is it usually found? The label generally is found in food and beverages, on packages and containers, as well as boxes, bottles, cans, etc. But where to be careful where it's not found? Examples would be your produce section, so fresh fruits and vegetables, your deli meats from the deli counter, and even your fresh meat counter, as well as your bakery items in the grocery store. Why is the nutrition facts label important? It's important because it helps you make those informed decisions about foods and beverages that you are about to consume or that you currently consume, so you can help feel a little bit more confident in knowing what might be a better choice. So now let's take a closer look at the nutrition facts label. The FDA has actually updated the nutrition facts label, so you may recognize with some products that it looks a little bit different than what it might used to look like. So let's talk through it as a group to kind of help recognize what those differences are. So one big difference that you'll notice is the serving size. That has been updated to be a more realistic serving size that people actually consume versus what you might think is recommended to consume. So if you have like a bottle of soda, you're typically not going to see the serving size to be 8 ounces. You're typically going to see it say 1 bottle. The number of calories is also larger and bolder in font. Calories from fat have been removed since research shows that the type of fat is a little bit more important than the amount consumed. You'll notice that added sugars is now on there in grams and has a percent daily value as well. The only time you're not going to find added sugars on a food label is if you're looking at the actual added sugar itself. So for example, syrup, honey, those are some, and sugar in general are examples of food labels that you will not find the amount of added sugar added. What's all new in the nutrition facts label, and what is it telling us? So we're going to go through the nutrition label, and we're going to start at the top just to kind of help differentiate each piece of the food label. So the first line will tell you the servings per container, which is the total number of servings in the entire food package. It's common for one package of food to contain more than one serving, so that you want to be mindful of how much you're actually consuming, because you may be doubling your intake or tripling your intake, especially if you're eating the entire package or container. The second line is serving size. So the serving size is based on the amount of people typically, the amount that people are typically consuming, and not what we should be eating. The first column of the nutrition label listed on the nutrition facts label is based on the serving size, and if there's a second column listed, that's going to tell you how much it would be if you ate the entire thing. So sometimes you'll see a dual column of nutrition information. The next line is calories per serving. So calories refer to the number of calories or energy supplied from your fats, proteins, carbs, and even alcohol in a serving of food. To achieve and maintain a healthy weight, you want to make sure you're balancing your number of calories with what you eat and drink to what your body needs in a day. So you can find that out talking with your registered dietitian on how many calories will you need a day to stick with. Next, we have the percent daily value, or percent daily value shows how much of a nutrient in a serving of food contributes to your total daily diet. We want to use the percent daily value to determine if the serving of that food is high in that nutrient or low in that nutrient, to help you compare products. As a general guide, 5% daily value or less of a nutrient per serving is considered low, and 20% daily value or more of a nutrient is considered high. So please note that some nutrients such as protein and trans fats on the nutrition label do not have that percent daily value, so you want to just use the number of grams as a guide and compare it to how much you need in a day. The different nutrients contained in the food product are listed on the left. So you'll see total fat, cholesterol, sodium, carbohydrates, protein, etc. You want to use this section of the label to choose products that are lower in nutrients you want to get less of, and higher in nutrients you want to get more of. So nutrients to get less of include saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, added sugars. So most Americans actually exceed the recommendations for these nutrients, and diets higher in these nutrients are associated with an increased risk of developing chronic health conditions such as cardiovascular disease, blood pressure, diabetes, etc. Nutrients that we want to get more of include fiber, and then the nutrients down at the bottom listed would be like vitamin D, calcium, iron, and potassium. So towards the bottom of that food label, you'll notice that there's some vitamins there listed that are still important to consume in our daily diet. So many Americans actually do not get the recommended amounts of these nutrients. They're typically lower in these nutrients. So let's test our knowledge here a little bit in this learning activity. So looking over this food label, what is the serving size that you see on this food product? 2/3 cup would be the serving listed there. And how many calories are in one serving? 230. How many servings are in the entire container? that would be 8 servings. So you'll see that as the very first thing listed on the nutrition facts label there. And just a little trivia question here to challenge yourself a little bit. If you ate the entire package, how many calories would you be consuming? And that would be 1,840. So how did we get that answer? We typically will take the total numbers of servings per container and multiply it by the calories to get that calorie number if you ate the entire thing. Just remember that if you do eat 2 or more servings of that food product, you want to make sure that you're multiplying that number of servings by all the other nutrients listed. So if you doubled the serving, you're doubling fat, sodium, carbohydrates, sugar, protein, etc. So starting with fats, the nutrition facts label shows the total amount of fat contained in the product and the percent daily value. There are 2 types of fats that will always be listed, and that's the saturated and trans fats, which are known to be our unhealthy fats. Dietary fat is a necessary nutrient for the human diet as it provides energy and helps us absorb different nutrients such as fat-soluble vitamins. And it's important for growth, development, and supports several other key processes in our body. Saturated fat is found in a variety of foods, naturally and additively. So animal fats such as butter and lard, meats, poultry, processed meats like bacon and hot dogs, dairy products, snack foods, sweets, different spreads like jellies and jams, sour cream, cream cheese. Those can all be made with saturated fats depending on how that person or company did make that product. Trans fats is found naturally in small amounts in some animal products, but you'll want to look for the word partially hydrogenated vegetable oils in the ingredient list to actually know if there is some in there. Typically, you will see 0 grams listed, so be careful as trace amounts might still be included in that product. We want to remember that the good fats are those unsaturated fats such as polyunsaturated and monounsaturated. Again, they're not always listed on the food label, but sometimes they are. So looking at the total fat will be helpful because if you notice that there's 12 grams of total fat and only 2 grams of saturated fat, most likely there's going to be a good opportunity that the rest of that fat is going to contribute to that healthy fat. So looking at the ingredient label, looking at some of those healthy fats, such as nuts and peanut butter and seeds and oils, that's going to indicate that the other grams of fat in that product are going to come from good fats. Moving on to added sugars. What are added sugars? These are sugars that are either added during processing of foods or packaged. For example, if someone added just sugar or honey or syrup to the product, they're going to have some added sugars as well. Typically, a lot of the products that are going to consume the most amount of added sugar would include your beverages, anything besides milk and 100% juice. So like your soda, or maybe juices that are not coming from 100% juice. Then following like snacks and sweets, grains, mixed dishes, some dairy products, condiments, vegetables, fruits, and fruit juice in that specific order. So a lot of our liquid beverages that we consume can quickly add up in added sugars more than we think. Where to find added sugars? You'll see added sugars down listed underneath the carbohydrates. You will also find them listed in the ingredient list. So some common names you want to look out for in the ingredient list that indicate there are added sugars in that product include sugar, brown sugar, fruit juice concentrates, high fructose corn syrup, honey, maltose, molasses, sucrose. Those are some words you want to look out for. And then just knowing that common sources of added sugars are going to include your baked goods and desserts, even some salad dressings, sauces, condiments, gravies, sugar-sweetened beverages, and other spreads. So how much sugar is too much sugar? Again, we want to use that percent daily value to kind of help compare products. So using 5% daily value or less as a good way to choose a lower sugar option, and avoiding that 20% or more daily value, because that's going to mean that it has a higher value to it. Typically, we want to aim for under 10% of our total calories coming from added sugars. So again, work with your dietitian to know what that number is. So testing our knowledge, looking at this food label that you see, let's take a look at the label here and practice identifying which nutrients are high in the percent daily value and which nutrients are low. So again, high means 20% daily value or more. So if we're looking at this food label, calcium and iron fall in that category of high, which is a good thing. We want to know which nutrients we want more of and which nutrients we want less of. The nutrients that we see that are low include the saturated fat that's listed on the food label. So that's at 5%, which would be a good thing. So getting an idea in general of what nutrients or what ingredients that you do want more of and what ingredients you want less of. Looking at the label and looking for things like whole grains, nuts, seeds, things that are going to contain fiber, healthy fats, and then limiting, those ones that have added sugars such as molasses and sucrose and brown sugar and honey, limiting those nutrients, and even those partially hydrogenated vegetable oils. So the ingredient list is a very good tool as well to use to help and make a better decision. So now that we have went through the food label and explained a little bit more about what to look for, learning what to use to compare products. Now let's talk about some practical ways to bring good nutrition into your daily lifestyle. So healthy eating starts with smart food shopping and cooking. So if you can think of some instances when your food shopping choices have been influenced, try to think of, things that interfere with making better choices. So some ways to help make your shopping experience a little bit smarter would be to always check the nutrition facts label. There is a handout that you can refer to as far as some quick tips that you can keep with you to help remind you of what to look for when reading a food label. Eat before you shop. So we never want to go grocery shopping hungry because that can lead to a higher grocery bill, but also possibly more processed foods that we may think that sounds good at the time. Use fresh vegetables and fruits that are in season. This can also be very budget friendly. You can also look for canned and frozen options as well, trying to look for low sodium or frozen fruits without added sauces or without added sugar. Thinking outside the store, so like looking at farmers markets or farm stands would be great options to help incorporate more fresh produce as well. Utilize your resources for more affordable, healthy options. So looking at ads, making a grocery list ahead of time is going to be very helpful to help you stick with what you have planned. So use the label to compare foods. When comparing products for calories and nutrients, be sure to check the serving size and be aware of any differences. The serving size is based on the amount of food typically consumed. So kind of be aware of maybe how much you do eat of that food, and if there's maybe a better product that you're going to get more bang for your buck, that's where the food label would come in to help you see if there is another option. Also, to achieve or maintain a healthy weight, balance the number of calories you eat and drink. Try to avoid those sugar-sweetened beverages, liquid calories, but maybe find out how many calories you need first to really utilize the food label to your full advantage. And then look at the percent daily value. 5% or less is low, 20% or more is high. So using your knowledge of what you learned to know what nutrients you want to be low and what nutrients you want to be high. A few ways you can make healthier choices at the grocery store again are, in the bread aisle, look for breads that are higher in dietary fiber. Make half your grains whole grains. Look for a whole wheat option as the first ingredient in your ingredient list. Try low-fat dairy products. Compare snacks and choose versions that are going to be lower in fat, lower sodium, and lower in added sugars. Fruits and vegetables are always going to be a good option. Choose more fruits and vegetables, whether it's fresh, canned, or frozen. And when buying frozen or canned, look for, low sodium, no salt added, without added sugars, looking at the added sugar content on the nutrition label to make sure that we are making that better choice. Instead of buying sugar-sweetened beverages, bottle your own water and carry it with you. Buy a big water that has the measurements so you can keep track of how much water you're drinking. Use those fruit and vegetables to flavor your water. Especially if you're wanting to limit your sweeteners. And keeping this advice in mind, if you see an item on sale, stock up on it. It's going to be more affordable in the end, and it's going to be less of a hassle to try and get it in the future. So based on what you've learned today, I would encourage you to take a few minutes to think about a few changes that you can make to your healthy foods while grocery shopping, and try to practice something different next time you go. But in today's busy world, eating out is definitely something that is part of our culture. So eating out can be convenient, it can be fun, but it can be challenging as well. And it also can be damaging to your weight loss journey and preventable of meeting your weight loss goals. So some things to keep in mind: meals eaten away from home are more likely to be higher in calories, sodium, saturated fat, compared to when you're cooking your meals at home, where you do have more control over what ingredients that you're using, and you know how something is cooked and prepared. So here are some simple steps that you can take to make healthier choices when eating out. Calorie information can be found on menus, so try to look for that if that is available. It will typically be available if they're part of a chain of 20 or more locations. They will be able to provide written nutrition information upon request. So don't hesitate to ask. And that can help you make a better choice. So these restaurants could include like your chain restaurants, your chain coffee shops, bakeries, self-service food locations such as buffets and salad bars, movie theaters, amusement parks, etc. So just being aware that most of those locations are going to have that nutrition information available to you. How to make a better choice for you. Overall, comparing calorie and nutrition information is going to help make that better and healthier choice. Side dishes can add up in many calories, so try to choose steamed, grilled, broiled vegetables or fruit, as they are often low in calories. With calorie information, you can make that best choice, so look at side options, not just entree options. Calorie information can help you decide how much to enjoy now and how much to save for later. So maybe something is 1,000 calories, but if you only ate half and saved half of it for leftovers the next day, it could better fit in your calorie needs. Ask for sauces and condiments, such as salad dressings and gravies on the side, so you know how much you are using and you have control over how much you're using. Foods described with words like creamy, fried, breaded, battered, buttered are typically higher in calories and fat, and foods described as baked, roasted, steamed, grilled, broiled are going to be your lower calorie choices. So just in case that nutrition information is not available. So what actions can you start taking today to make healthier choices eating away from home? Again, I encourage you to take a few minutes to kind of decide, what are a couple goals that you want to set next time you do eat out? Or where do you want to eat out? Maybe choosing somewhere different could be just what you need to make a healthier choice. So remember that small changes add up. Making healthier choices doesn't have to mean making big changes all at once. So focusing on manageable small changes in your shopping, your cooking, your eating habits can lead to healthier lifelong changes. When shopping, cooking at home, or eating out, choose from the 5 food groups. So remember the My Plate method when you're moving forward to, the grocery shopping or eating out, including vegetables, fruit, grains, especially whole grains, protein, and dairy. So if you have that combination available, you are already setting yourself up for a healthier meal choice. When eating out, compare calories and nutrition information as it is available to you. And cook with herbs and spices to allow to flavor meals without the added sodium. When shopping, take your quick tip sheet with you to help just give you some reminders on how to make a healthier choice. So thank you for joining. That wraps up our nutrition class 2.